in Tarnation is going on, everybody, and welcome back. My co-host, Sean McCabe. I'm James Kokolak.
What's your name?
James Kokolak.
All right, cool.
What's going on?
Oh, man, just living the dream. Never been better a day in my life. Ready to talk some NFL draft. There's a lot of things to get to. We missed last week. We got a lot to discuss.
And I wasn't here the week before.
Yep.
I was up,
Yes. So it's been a little while.
Going to the Devils game. I got to see the only win the Devils beat
Congrats.
Tampa Bay. So it was pretty cool. I had a Tampa Bay fan sitting in front of me the entire game, and every time we scored a goal, I would do the Ric Flair woo right in his ear like 6 times.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Like the Devils thing. So,
That's
but
awesome.
It was an awesome game. But yeah, we missed last week. I actually did the podcast, and I'm like, you know what? I don't like it wasn't good enough, and I won't put it out. And I know you're the same way.
Yep.
We won't put out something that we're not proud of.
Yeah, exactly.
And you couldn't be here last week.
Yeah, I went to the Philly Heat game, and
Which
the
was awesome.
Sixers dominated them.
Yeah, so-
and that series is over.
I bet you're happy.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, another team is. You have another team playing tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're going to be too happy with that one.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about it myself, to be honest with you.
I can't wait to watch that game though, because the Leafs-Bruins game is the game we're talking about here. Is going to be phenomenal tonight. Game 7. These teams.
Rivals.
Last time the Leafs and the Bruins played in the Game 7, the Bruins came back in the third period with less than 5 minutes to go, down 4-1, and won in regulation. I believe it was 5-4.
Yeah, they scored that goal, and they scored the 2 final goals they scored. It was within like 20 seconds or something.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
It was
because I remember not watching it, and like I saw the score, and I was like, they lost. And then I kind of like went to the bathroom, came back, and they won. Oh my God, how the hell did they win?
Yep. I remember that game like it was yesterday. It was crazy. But that's what NHL playoffs are about. That's what sports is about, really. Not just the NHL playoffs, but the NBA, NFL, MLB, all sports. But enough with that. We have another loaded show today. As Sean mentioned, we're going to be discussing the NFL draft, which takes place tomorrow night, Thursday, April 26th. And
it's to me, it's the official start of the new season.
Yeah,
I know we had free agency, but
there's still big name free agents.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
Des Bryant isn't the player he used to be, but he is still a free agent.
Yep.
We still have some big names out there. So the NFL season are really just starting to get rolling again.
Finally.
So we're gonna start talking about NHL or NFL again. See, I'm already thinking hockey again.
Oh my God,
I love it that much.
Get off the hockey.
Oh, I'm trying. I'm addicted to it. But anyway, we have a loaded show today. Like I said, my rant is going to be spectacular today, and we're bringing back the final quarter.
Hell yeah.
All of that next, right here on BTH.
Your number one source for sports.
You know who I can't stand? Kevin Durant.
He looks like Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton had a kid.
Now, who can argue with that?
I hate Boston.
I'm the biggest Miami Heat hater you'll ever meet.
I just don't understand where you're getting your bogus information from.
What the hell are you even talking about?
Well, I'm sorry you're too freaking sensitive to handle the truth.
You think I'm crazy? I'm just getting warmed up.
You're now Between the Hashmarks with James Kokolak and Sean McCabe.
Remember being the new kid on the block? If you have ever moved as a child, being the odd one out at first, other kids always finding a way to win, even if they cheated just so you'd lose. That's kind of how the NHL expansion drafts used to work until this year. Expansion drafts left the new team with unwanted players from other squads, and to succeed, you needed to lose and lose and lose and lose again and build through the draft. For instance, the last 4 teams to join the league before Vegas were the Nashville Predators in 1998-99, then the Atlanta Thrashers, who are now the Winnipeg Jets in 99-2000, and the following year, the Columbus Blue Jackets and Minnesota Wild joined the league, making it 30 teams in 2000-2001, now at 31 with Vegas. I want to run through a couple of things that will give you a better perspective of this whole rant. Let's start with the Predators. They missed the playoffs for the first 5 years of their existence and have also lost in the first round another 6 years. A team that has been around for 20 years has either missed it or lost in the first round more than half of their existence. They just won their first division title this year in 2018 and have only been to one conference final and one Stanley Cup final, both appearances last year. The Atlanta Thrashers only lasted 12 years as an NHL franchise before moving to Winnipeg for the return of the Jets. Now, the Jets were a franchise in the past, but they weren't the Atlanta Thrashers. They just moved and kind of took over there. But that being said, in their brief stint as a franchise, they missed the playoffs for the first 6 years as a team, including a 14-win season, followed by a 23-win season and a 19-win season in years 2 and 3, respectively. They made the playoffs after winning their division in 06-07, but lost in the first round and did not qualify for the playoffs again until moving to Winnipeg. The Columbus Blue Jackets missed the playoffs for the first 7 seasons as a team and have only made the playoffs 4 times in 18 years. To this day, they have never won a playoff series, and they have never won a division title, despite moving from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference with a realignment of the divisions. Lastly, the Minnesota Wild only made the playoffs 3 times in their first 11 seasons as a franchise, but did make a conference final run in year 3, but only qualified for the playoffs 2 more times in the next 8 years, although the Wild now have qualified for the playoffs in 6 straight seasons, which is a very impressive feat. Now, I know I did not go into wins and losses, but that's because making the playoffs is every team's goal, with the exception of a few that change yearly, who have true Stanley Cup expectations or know it is a true rebuilding year. The consensus of all these facts show that starting from scratch proves growing pains are a given, and you will fail at first without making the playoffs for quite a while, with the exception of this past year. The Vegas Golden Knights, the team who is the betting favorite into finishing 31st in the league, or better known as dead last place, have defied the odds, winning their division year 1 and have already won a playoff series in a sweep. Are you kidding me? Now, I know Vegas had a great season and rode the energy the building gave them for 41 home games, but the playoffs are a different beast. You now have to play the 2-time Stanley Cup champion Los Angeles Kings with their core still intact. That's huge. They have the experience, they're a bigger team, and the team a lot of people expected to upset the Knights and end their dream season. Looking back on it now, it is laughable because they did anything but. The Kings were a total disappointment. This is not a slight to the Vegas Golden Knights, who played hard and played well, but Marc-Andre Fleury had a .977 save percentage, letting up 3 goals in 4 games with 2 shutouts is just unheard of. Literally unheard of. Fleury is a true superstar goalie, but the numbers he put up, being one of the few experienced players on the Golden Knights, were truly incredible. That being said, the Kings looked old, they looked slow, tired, they had no offense at all. LA looked totally outmatched and overwhelmed at times. It looked like they were lost out there during certain points of the game, which is very un-King-like. Jonathan Quick posted a .945 save percentage, which is well above the .910 league average, but the Kings couldn't keep up offensively. They were consistently beaten to pucks, beaten in races, and lost all the little battles that win you a series. They didn't look like the Kings of old, and their best defenseman and potentially their best player, Drew Doughty, looked increasingly frustrated throughout the series for these exact reasons. Anytime your goaltender puts up a .945 save percentage in a single series with every game so pressure-packed, you should win that series, no questions asked. Not only did the Kings get swept, but they got beat at their own game. Low-scoring, tight defensive game. I'm calling you out, Los Angeles. Getting swept by an expansion franchise in the first round of the playoffs in their first year is unacceptable, and you, Los Angeles, are the true losers here.
You sound a little bit, angry with this. Did you have a bet or something?
I did. I owe you. I was wrong. I have to admit it. But let's be real here. Everybody on that podcast picked the Kings to win, whether it was within a sweep or within 7 games.
That's true.
The Kings looked like crap.
Yeah, no, I picked the Kings in 7 on that one. That was it's a huge surprise, and I just want to bring up another point. You have the Florida Panthers. They were another expansion team. They had I think it was success in their second year, but since then they've been trash.
Yeah, they haven't done it.
So that just goes with the point that these expansion franchises, they really have no shot, except NHL changed everything, so now they have almost an advantage, it seems like, as opposed to all the other teams.
And it's pretty crazy. I read an article the other day that said if anybody is mad, they should blame the general managers, because the general managers are the ones who voted on how to do the expansion draft, and things were different this time around, and it paid off.
And didn't each general manager decide which players they would keep and which players they'd get rid of?
Yes, and every single one of those players.
I wonder what Pittsburgh thinks right now about getting rid of Fleury.
I mean, That's tough. It's tough. It's really tough. And I'm not going to go too far into it, but I think that's going to affect them upcoming here in this Washington series, not having Fleury to fall back on. Murray's going to have that pressure. Can he hold up? I'm not sure. But Fleury, man, he's another story. I was mind-boggled with how well he played.
Yeah, no, it was 977. That's
just for instance, you shoot 100 shots, he's saving 97. You shoot 1,000 shots, he's saving 977.
Yeah.
That is the league average is 910.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's unreal in that type of situation, and the games weren't blowouts.
No, they were all close.
Were very close.
Every
Tight
game,
scoring, 2-1,
every game was close.
3-2. They plays right into the Kings' hand.
Yeah.
They got beat. They didn't lose. They didn't give it to them.
Yeah.
They got beat.
Yeah, so it kind of pushes me towards this. Like, do you see this momentum going forward, or is this a thing that you think, or is it dead in the tracks?
For the guy who called Vegas getting swept in the first round, they proved me wrong. They showed me a lot of heart in that series. Don't get me wrong. Now this is kind of like if, ands, or buts here. But if Marc-Andre Fleury doesn't play as well as he does, this could be a different way. So I know the Kings didn't play well, but a 977 is ridiculous. Is Fleury going to play that well against the Sharks? No. But is he going to play good? I do think so.
The thing that's kind of annoying with this is, like, I mean, if you look at all of, like, the analytics, I mean, this is how I picked my winners for the playoffs. Because I don't follow hockey like you or Carmine or Clint. I just kind of looked at the analytics of every team, and the analytics were telling me the Kings are not a good team at all. They have great goalie, they have great defense, but they can't shoot the puck, they can't score the puck. They are not good in power plays. They're terrible at everything besides their goalkeeping. And it showed. And no, but I'm frustrated with myself because I looked at it and I was like, you know what, Vegas is a first-year team. The Kings are, 2-time Stanley Cup champions with most of their core, and
it only made sense.
Yeah.
The common sense. If you were to go back a week and a half ago before the season started, I'm still picking the Kings to sweep because without knowing what happened, it's only common sense. I know Fleury has experience. I know James Neal has some experience in the playoffs, being with Nashville right before Vegas and being with Pittsburgh before that. So he's been in the playoffs quite frequently, but not everybody has. The team as a whole hasn't. The team as a franchise hasn't.
Okay, quick question for you. When am I getting my crab rangoons?
Whenever you want. How about next week for the podcast?
Sounds good.
I don't know if they're going to be from where I get them from, which have the best crab rangoons, because that's like 40 minutes away.
I want the best ones.
All right. Then it's going to have to wait, because there is no way I'm driving all the way home and coming all the way back here.
What the hell, man? What the hell?
Hey, I live pretty far from here.
All right, coming up next, we just had this insane rant. Screw the Kings.
Screw the Kings is right, especially since they beat my Devils in 2012, you stupid Kings.
Coming up next, we are giving you the 2018 NFL Draft Preview. You're listening to BTH.
Do you have the overwhelming urge to advertise something where it'll only reach 100 people? Well, don't we have the perfect thing for you? Right here, we will sell you this 30-second spot for whatever commercial you want, as long as you let us put this music with it. This music will be by Audionautics and Jason Shaw. Isn't this music fantastic? We sure think so, and that's why we're going to make you listen to it for a few more seconds. Now, back to the greatest sports podcast ever to be conceived.
And welcome back to Between the Hashmarks. James, good job roasting the Kings. That's some in-depth knowledge you put on all of us right there. And
I've been waiting 6 years to roast the Kings on air since the Devils lost in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals in Los Angeles, because the Devils had home field or home ice that year. I've been waiting 6 years for this day. So I'm glad you appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's good. You spit out some the hard truth, honestly, and
it really is. I
mean, it not to go too far back into the last segment, but it kind of seems like the Kings might need to be rebuilding.
Yeah, and it happens. Look at the Rangers.
Yeah.
The Rangers did not come into the season looking like they were going to rebuild. Halfway through, they kind of realized, oh, you know what, we're getting a little bit older.
Yep.
Henrik doesn't have much time left. Let's start to reboot now. Let's start to refresh all these legs, younger kids. So Kings look like they got to do the same thing. Totally agree.
All right, going into the 2018 NFL Draft.
Woo-hoo!
It is tomorrow. we're recording on Wednesday evening. It's Thursday. The draft is on Thursday. Very freaking exciting. You must be excited.
Can the Jets finally get a quarterback? Seriously.
Well, it's not getting a quarterback. It's getting the correct quarterback.
Yeah. Well, you knew what I meant. But yeah, seriously, can they? We'll find out in a couple minutes.
We'll see. I just want to start off quickly. Who do you think is going to have the best draft and why?
I think it'll be the Browns. They've got 5 picks in the first 64, and you could say, well, they always screw up the picks. But they have.
Are they actually going to cash them in this year?
I believe so. Scott Pioli is a good general manager. He brought the Chiefs, to relevance. Yep. He's a Patriot guy too. I think the Browns really hit a home run in this draft. You have to with 5 picks in the first 65.
And 4 of those picks are in the top. 4 of those picks are in the top 35.
That's basically 4 first-round picks.
Yeah,
in a sense.
So I think Cleveland's going to have a very good draft, but I'm going to say New England. I'm not trying to be a homer with this one, but
I was just about to say.
I really think this because they have. You said 5 picks in the first 64 picks.
Yep.
Well, New England has 4 picks in the first 63. So I think 2 of them are in the first round and 2 of them are in the second. I think it's going to be. I think they're going to have a good draft. I think they know what they need. They know what they want, and I think they're going to capitalize. They seem to capitalize as long as they don't draft wide receivers because they can't draft wide receivers to save their lives unless it's Julian Edelman in the 7th round.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw I think maybe you posted it on our page and that's where I saw it.
Yeah.
It was what will these people draft in New England? We'll draft the white cashier from from Pathmark or whatever it was.
Yeah,
He's going to become an all-pro wide receiver, and it's true. Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola. Before that was Wes Welker. It's just like a common.
Well, they didn't draft Wes Welker, but they're always good at.
Yeah, that's just who succeeds with them.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on to the next question is a nice little transition we have here. New England's plans. They have the 23rd and the 31st picks. 4 picks in the top 2 rounds, like I already said. What are their plans? What do you think they're going to do with them? Are they going to cash in? Are they going to trade up? Are they going to trade back? Are they going to?
I think in New England they're in a weird situation because they're not a team that is lacking a whole bunch of talent. They don't have a lot of talent deficiency on that team. Bill Belichick kind of knows what he's doing, and he's always been the best coach of all time here. But he should trade both of those picks, in my opinion. Trade up into the draft, grab
the
best player
23rd and the 31st.
Yes, and get best player available because you want somebody who's going to help you now, somebody who's going to help you this season.
So are you talking
Belichick
about?
Won't be around for much
So are you
longer.
talking about them drafting a quarterback, or you think they should take
I think it's
like Bradley Chubb or something?
I think it's possible that they'll take like a Mayfield if they don't trade. Even though I think Mayfield will go in the top 10, like maybe like a Lamar Jackson or somebody. Even though I don't think he's a first round talent, but that's what I think they should do. They should trade up, get best talent available. They probably can't get into the top 10 with 2 late first round picks unless they added basically all 4 picks in the top 64. But if they were to do that, they could get somebody who's going to help them right now. Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and Gronk are not going to be around forever, and they're not going to be around for much longer. As we've already seen, Brady and Gronk were up in the air about playing this year, even though we knew they would
play. Yeah.
But it's coming to that point where every offseason
they got to think about it.
Exactly, and that's something to think about for the Patriots.
Absolutely.
They have to go best player available.
Yeah, no, I respect what you think, but I don't think that's going to happen at all. I feel like whatever the rumors are about whatever New England's going to do, you can guarantee that is not going to happen. When was the last time you saw something? Patriots are thinking about doing this. Patriots are rumored to do that, and they'd actually do it. No, absolutely not. You never see that at all.
Nope.
It's never happened once, I think, in the history of since Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. It's never happened. So I think they're going to end up staying at 23, staying at 31, and I think they're going to take an offensive tackle at 23, and I think they're going to take a defensive end at 31.
Okay.
So best available.
Enough. Best available position
for those two positions.
At those two positions.
Those 2 positions are major problems for them, especially after they lost Nate Solder. And their defensive line was kind of that's young, but it's trash.
Can we just take a really quick second to laugh at Brandon Marshall for telling Des Bryant there wasn't enough room on his team?
Yeah.
And then he gets cut 2 days later.
That was perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right. Next question I have for you. All right, Houston. They don't have a single pick until the 3rd round because of that Deshaun Watson trade last year. Will this hurt them? And do they trade back into the first or the second round?
I don't see them trading into the first round. They can't mortgage the future more than they already have.
Yeah, like what would they do?
Watson.
What would they do to get back into the first round? They have to trade next year's first and second or whatever.
It would just be a catastrophe if they decided they were going to get it into the first round. I think they can get back into the late second round. I don't think that they will. I think they're going to stay put in the third round, and it's definitely going to affect them. Deshaun Watson, he's a great player. He showed that last year. But he just had a major injury. He is not going to be 100% this season. He's not going to be 100% to start the season. You can kind of kiss the Texans seasons goodbye before it has started, and this is going to be just more of a progressing season for Deshaun Watson later in the season. So it'll definitely affect them this year for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree that it is going to hurt them that they don't have a draft pick. Especially if Watson goes down. But I don't think they're going to make any moves. I mean, what moves can they make unless they trade players that they sign? I mean, they had a pretty good free agency. I was reading down the Bleacher Report, Houston got this player, Houston got this player. And it's like, oh, crap, better watch out. Because they got a pretty good defense. I think they ramped it up this year.
J.J. Watt's got to stay healthy, though.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're always amazing defense, top 5 defense every year. And at the end of the year, they're bottom 5 defense so because of all their injuries.
Yep.
And this is the thing we've talked about many times on the show.
And they're missing a key player this year who's not going to be with them anymore, and that is
Cushing.
Yeah,
so it's going to be rough. But yeah, no, I think they're definitely screwed, especially if Watson goes down. They have no shot, especially in that division when Luck comes back. Yeah,
I wouldn't want to play in the AFC South. I'll tell you that right now. I've been playing in the AFC East with Tom Brady, and I wouldn't want to play in the AFC South with Luck, Mariota, who has the potential to be great. Deshaun Watson
defense
and Jacksonville's defense. I mean, well, we can't.
We're not talking about Bortles.
No, I was about to say,
we're talking about Jacksonville. Everything on
conversation.
Jacksonville is amazing except Bortles. All right, next question I have for you.
He's got a pretty sexy wife.
He does. He does. So
he's got one thing going for him.
At least he has eyesight.
Congratulations, Blake Bortles.
Although it doesn't seem like he has eyesight on the football field in the middle of games when he's throwing.
You literally just took the words out of my mouth.
So, Blake, we might need to get you some contacts or something. I don't know. But next question. Talking about Miami Dolphins here. They're at the 11th pick. Do they need to draft a quarterback in the first round of this draft?
It would be nice for them to draft a quarterback. I don't think they do it in the first round. I think they're going to stick with Tannehill.
Honestly, I don't think they need to. Like, if you look at Adam Gase's first year with Tannehill, they went to the playoffs.
Yeah, no, he was good and he was progressing, but then he got hurt. And I don't like I said, it would be nice if they did, only because of that injury. You don't know how he's going to respond from the serious.
Well, they did get rid of
injury.
Matt Moore.
But they did get rid of Matt Moore, and they don't have Jay Cutler anymore, who's going to go back to the press box because that's where he belongs. And
yeah, he does.
If he even belongs there, he might be the.
I'm surprised though they didn't try to. Well, I'm surprised they didn't try to get him to stay as a backup because he would be a top 3 backup. I mean, you have Nick Foles. I would put Nick Foles would be number 1, but then who would be number 2 as far as backups go? Like Jay Cutler would be.
Very quick question: would you have put Nick Foles number 1 before the Super Bowl win?
No.
It's very interesting though.
Sways. Okay, but also I thought Garoppolo was the number 1 backup
and
quarterback.
He's now a starter.
Yeah. So
fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think they need to draft a quarterback at all. Never mind in the first round. I mean, they should pick one up. They could use a 4th or 5th round flyer on a guy, but I don't think it's any of the top unless they can get Darnold or Rosen. I don't think it's worth it for them to move up, or unless somebody falls to them, which is very likely at number 11. All right, moving forward, we have the top 4 quarterbacks here. We're talking about Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, and Baker Mayfield. Which one is taken last?
Well, I think that this time of year is so tough to listen to rumors. We were discussing this earlier because things come out, and the first thing I said to you was, wow, Cleveland, they're not even in on Darnold anymore. They want either Mayfield or Allen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, the Jets are about to get Sam Darnold. Hell yeah. And you're like, you better hold on over there real quick because everything nowadays, this time of year is a flat-out lie. They want to see where the teams are going to go, if they're going to trade up, who the other team really wants. It's kind of like a mind game. So
how I look at it, especially lately, if there's a rumor, it's kind of the same thing with my theory on New England. If you hear a rumor about a top 5 team taking a certain player, it's probably not going to happen unless they have the number 1 overall pick.
And which Cleveland does.
Yeah.
And which is what makes this whole thing funky now.
Yeah. I don't understand why they would throw that out there because it doesn't benefit them. It might benefit the other quarterbacks. See, that's what I want to know. Who leaked the story? Because
it was a Cleveland Browns reporter who put it out, but who leaked it to them?
Yeah, so that doesn't make any sense to me because usually stories leak because they benefit somebody. They benefit the party that is leaking it. And I don't know. It doesn't seem to benefit the Browns by putting this out there that they're not interested in Darnold.
It doesn't benefit them at all.
If they were the third pick, and I could see why they would do this. I mean, if you look at, I believe it was the year Blake Bortles was drafted. I think it was 14 or 13. What it doesn't matter. There was all this talk about them drafting Johnny Manziel. And Johnny Manziel is going to be the first quarterback taken. It looks like Jacksonville's going to take him, and then they took Blake Bortles, and then Johnny slid all the way down to 22nd or
22. Yep.
Yeah. So I think things like that. The rumor we saw from Bleacher Report, I don't know.
Well, let's put it this way: if the rumor is true and they're not in on Darnold anymore, then I believe Josh Allen goes.
It's not going to be
Josh
Baker.
Rosen goes last, and Mayfield goes first.
You think Mayfield would be the Browns pick?
Yes, over Josh Allen.
Oh, I disagree with that.
I do think that. I just think the teams love him for some reason. I'm not really high on him. I'd rather have Darnold or Rosen, but teams love his confidence. His swagger is what.
You're talking about Baker?
Yeah, is what brings teams in. So, but that being said, if the rumor is false, it's going to be Josh Allen who's picked fourth out of those four.
All right, I have Baker being taken fourth. I mean, look, we're talking about two quarterbacks all year, and then Josh Allen slips in like right at the end of the year, so we're familiar with him. And then it's not until recently that Baker Mayfield has made that jump from mid-teens to top 5 pick
or top 5, yeah.
So like I think he's definitely going to be the weakest link there. Moving on, the fifth guy, most likely Lamar Jackson. Where's he going?
He should go in the 4th round.
Okay, where is he going though? I mean, Tim Tebow should have gone in the 7th.
He shouldn't have been drafted number 1. Number 2, they're projecting him late 1st, early 2nd.
Yeah. So right here, I'm looking at SECCountry.com. They have Lamar Jackson going 15th to the Arizona Cardinals. They have him going 5th. He's the 5th quarterback taken.
I don't want to hate on anybody because Lamar Jackson probably works as hard as anybody at his craft.
Yeah.
And probably puts a lot of time and effort. And I wish him nothing but the best. I wish him all success. Anything that he can get going his way, I wish greatness for him. But the way he plays is just not. He's not an NFL caliber quarterback. As one NFL scout said, when he throws the ball up, it's a hope and a prayer that somebody's going to catch it. That's on his team.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with that. If it were me, I would love to take him in like the middle of the 2nd round, but because of what he could bring to the table, he's kind of got like that Russell Wilson kind of thing going on, but not nearly as good. So I think that would be where I would take him in like the middle of the 2nd, but I have the feeling he's not going to go 15 to Arizona. I think that's way too high, but I could see him slipping to, if he's still there at the Bills have a 22nd pick. I think he could slip there and the Bills take him.
I mean, it's possible,
but that is if the Bills don't trade up.
He gets to, it's gonna be a project. He's not a starter right away, and I could see him being the next kind of Terrell Pryor. He's very athletic.
Yeah,
he could make the switch to wide receiver in a couple of years. I know he doesn't want to right now, but I think when he gets in the league and he realizes that quarterback is not going to be really his option anymore, he's going to take it. So
yeah, all right, fair enough. All right, I want to hear your top 10 picks here. We'll just go one by one. You say your first, I'll say my first. You name the team and.
All right, so
why you think the player's going?
I think we have the first 2 picks as the same.
Okay, Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold,
okay.
Number 1 going to the Cleveland Browns, and number 2 I have Saquon Barkley going to the New York Giants.
Yep, I do as well. And look, the Giants, they should take whoever they think is the best quarterback available, but they seem to be all in on Eli for a couple more years, which I don't really understand, but if you go all in on Barkley, I think that will give Eli a couple more years that you need. You need the running game and you need the pass protection, which is what Eli did not have last year. And you also need some wide receivers to stay healthy.
A little stat about, or a little fact I should say about Barkley is that Adrian Peterson is the highest rated running back to ever come out of college.
Yeah.
Rated by ESPN.
Yep.
98 overall.
Okay.
Saquon Barkley is a 97.
Okay, yeah.
Now, but also you can't put too much stock into it because Trent Richardson, who couldn't find a hole if it was right in front of him, was also rated a 97. But Leonard Fournette, Todd Gurley.
What about Zeke?
Zeke, they were all between 92 and 96 over the last 4 years. So you're looking at right here a couple things is that he resembles most in the NFL right now is Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, and Todd Gurley. He's going to be that type of player.
Yeah.
So he's going to be really good. He's not going to be a Trent Richardson.
I think he's most out of the players you named. I think he's most like Todd Gurley because he catches the ball out of the backfield.
Yes.
And he will be a significant part of the Giants' offense.
He's going to be like a Shane Vereen on steroids.
Just a random question for you, kind of off topic. Saquon Barkley, Giants don't take him. Where's he going? Say Giants shock everybody. They take Josh Rose. We'll say Josh Rose in second.
He's going 4 to the Browns.
The Browns, yeah. I'd agree.
He does not leave the top 5. If he leaves the top 5, every team that doesn't need a quarterback in the top 5 their general manager should be fired.
And that would be crazy if he got to number 6, which is where Indianapolis picks, and they traded out from 3 to 6, and they still would get the guy because if Barkley's there, they're going to take him.
Yeah, without question, he'd be great for Andrew Luck. So,
yeah.
But a couple things on the one thing that scouts really, the word is salivate over, is his elusiveness and his breakaway speed as a perimeter runner.
Not to mention, he can kick return and punt return.
So he's a man of many talents. Sam Darnold, I think, is the consensus. He should go number 1. He is the best quarterback. I would be ecstatic if he fell to my New York Jets. He would be the quarterback that we've been missing.
Yeah.
I think that given a couple of years, he'll sit. Whoever gets drafted by the Jets is going to sit for the first year. Josh McCown's going to play again this year, which is okay. As a Jets fan, I'm telling you that's okay because it's going to help the young quarterback.
Yeah, you still want to suck next year.
Exactly.
So,
and we're not going to be good with Sam Darnold next year either. So let him grow as a player.
Yeah,
but a couple of things that make him that top pick is that he's incredibly accurate, including on the move. He's very good at passing the ball while running, and that is a huge feat in the NFL. Not a slight against Brady, not a slight against Manning, but there were not such mobile quarterbacks, and if they couldn't do it from the pocket, they wouldn't be as successful as they are. And if he could do it from outside the pocket and inside the pocket, I think it's a huge thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, moving on to your New York Jets. Who you got them taking?
I've got them taking Baker Mayfield.
What?
Crazy, I know, but
Mayfield.
That's the way it's looking right now.
Let me clean out my ears.
I'm not too thrilled about it.
Wow.
Josh Rosen. No, I'm kidding. Baker Mayfield. I'm telling you, as a New York Jets fan, I want Sam Darnold. Then I would want Josh Rosen. Then I would want Baker Mayfield. Josh Allen, he's a project. He's got a lot of talent, but I think that he would be better off going to a team like the Browns if they didn't have that top pick and they had just the 4th pick. And he's the biggest project out of the bunch. I think they're going to take Baker solely on the fact that he is extremely confident, and Josh Rosen doesn't seem to be all there right now.
So all right, here's how I look at it. The Jets made this trade to the 3rd pick, and what was the consensus that they would take?
Josh Rosen.
And was anybody talking about Baker Mayfield at that point in time?
No, but that's all anybody's talking about now. But
so that is my point. They made the trade, and they knew who they wanted, and I think nothing has changed. Like what could have changed?
Well, I think that they had 3 quarterbacks that are even, which is why they traded to number 3.
And there's that stuff about Josh Rosen that he needs to be
more not prepared, but more there.
Yeah, he needs to be intellectually challenged. He needs to know why he's doing things, and then he'll engage a lot more, which makes sense. I'm not hating on him for it. I totally understand. You want to know the why. You want to get behind the whole message and philosophy of everything, so you can give 100%.
Helpful.
Yeah, but teams are looking at that as a downside, and I don't think that is at all. So yeah, no, I think it's going to be Josh Rosen going 3rd to the Jets.
I would not be disappointed if it was though. So
all right, moving on to the 4th pick, Cleveland. It's their 2nd pick. Who you got them taking?
I've got Mike McGlinchey, offensive tackle at Notre Dame. Now,
Okay.
I know this is kind of a throwaway pick.
Yeah.
I do want to mention that I did not make any trades in my draft.
Okay.
I do think that there will be 2 trades. I do think that Denver trades out because they don't need a quarterback anymore. And if there was to be a second trade, I think that it's very, very, very possible that the Colts trade down again out of the top 10. If they can, to
All right,
build,
let's
to build
hold
more
on,
through
hold
the
on
draft.
one second though. But let's stay on this. So Cleveland is taking the offensive lineman. Why?
Because it's a need. You're drafting a quarterback here. You're going to need to give him some protection. And I know Tyrod Taylor is going to be your quarterback next year, but you don't want him getting hurt and throwing your rookie quarterback into the mix when he is not ready.
Yeah, no, you got to replace what's his face who just retired,
Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas.
So
yeah.
this is not the interior lineman that but they needed an offensive tackle. I think that he's 6'8", 309 pounds out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're going with it, but when I'm looking at all the drafts that I'm reading, they have him going in the mid-20s. This is actually the one I'm looking at right now, the SEC county or country one. They have him going to New England at 23.
Yeah, I think the one that I saw had him going at 18. And the reason I have him so high is I'm just going off of what is the best fit for the Browns at 4 if Barkley is not available. So they need an offensive tackle.
I got to disagree with you 100% because I think better fits would be Bradley Chubb or the person who I think they're going to take, Minkah Fitzpatrick. And I think that is an absolute need that the Cleveland Browns need to address right away. I don't think defensive line is a huge need for them.
You don't think replacing Joe Thomas is the biggest need right now, or one of?
I would say it is, but all right, here's the thing. They have a pick at 33 and a pick at 35 where they could still get offensive line there. And I think really effective, successful offensive line.
No, they could take him later in the draft.
So I don't see the point in taking somebody who's going to go in the late teens, early 20s at number 4 unless they're going to trade that pick back.
I mean, it's possible. The one thing that they say about McGlinchey is that he's better served playing on the right side rather than the left side, which is where he's been playing at Notre Dame.
Okay.
He actually played on the right side. The right tackle is where he started the all of 2015 campaign for Notre Dame.
Okay, yeah, well, that's interesting because this thing here is saying that he would go to New England to replace Nate Solder at left tackle, and what you're telling me is he wouldn't even be good at left tackle.
Well, he's been playing left tackle for the last couple of years. He replaced Ronnie Stanley, who has become an amazing offensive lineman in the NFL now.
But he's better at right.
But he's better at the right side, yes.
Okay.
But he can play the left, and he's been playing the left for a premier school in Notre Dame.
Okay, all right. Next pick, we have the Denver Broncos picking 5th. I'm going to go first with this one. I think Denver is going to trade out of this pick, and they're going to trade with Buffalo. Buffalo's sitting at 12. I think they're going to swap, and Buffalo's going to give them a bunch of other stuff. But then Buffalo is going to take Josh Allen. And the reason why I think they're going to take Josh Allen is because Josh Allen is a Wyoming kid, played football at Wyoming, and he knows what it's like to play in brutally cold weather like in Buffalo. The other quarterback remaining, Baker Mayfield or you say Lamar Jackson, they don't know what it's like to be playing in brutally cold weather every single game. Josh Allen has that, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Carson Wentz a little bit, how lesser known guy, but he's super tough, and he's got a head on his shoulders. So that's why I think Denver trades out with Buffalo. Buffalo drafts Josh Allen at number 5. What about you?
I actually agree with you there, except I don't know if it'll be Josh Allen. I think it'll be the last of the remaining 4 quarterbacks available.
Okay.
Or the third quarterback available. But anyway, it's...
So you have that being... So you had Darnold first and then
Mayfield second.
And so you think this would be Rosen?
It'll be the third. So it'll be either Rosen or Allen.
Okay.
But say the Jets take Rosen at 3,
yeah, no,
I think it'll be Allen.
It's interesting, though, because you brought up a good point here, sort of. You didn't realize you brought it up. If the Jets take Baker Mayfield, teams will definitely be trading up. Maybe Cleveland at 4 or Denver at 5, but people are going to want Josh Allen. I don't see Josh Allen slipping like the rumors are saying that he's going to.
So, but I don't have trades in mind, as I mentioned. I just wanted to go straight 1 through 10. What's the best fit available for these teams?
What's the best fit for Denver then?
I actually have a cornerback, Denzel Ward from Ohio State.
Okay.
He's rated in the top 10 in total players. He's got the best feet of any corner in this draft. And he didn't get too much playing time up into this year because Ohio State is always stacked with cornerbacks. But that being said, he's going to be that term shutdown corner, and he has all the tools to do it.
Okay, moving on to the next picks, number 6, Indianapolis. I have them taking Quentin Nelson from Notre Dame, the guard from Notre Dame. They need offensive line. They need to protect Andrew Luck, and they need to give whoever's going to be their running back some freaking support because I'm sorry, but Marlon Mack is just not going to do it with no offensive line. And whether if it's Andrew Luck or if it's Scott Tolzien, I don't even know who their backup is, but they need protection for the quarterback and for the running back. They're going to go with Quentin Nelson. He's a good run blocker and a good pass blocker.
Let's just move on to number 7 because I agree with everything you said, and I have Andrew Luck being protected by Quentin Nelson at pick number 6.
Okay, Tampa is number 7. What do you have?
For Tampa Bay, I've got them taking Minkah Fitzpatrick, which is also a need for the Bucs. They need defensive backs. Minkah Fitzpatrick played corner in college. He more or less relates to a safety in the NFL, just the way he plays. Now, a couple of things on him very quickly that nobody in this class, word for word, nobody in this class can match Fitzpatrick's combination of instincts, coverage skills, and reliable open field tackling. But he does lack the elite fluidity and change of direction over top cover corners.
Well, that's why
but
he's
his route anticipation and physicality make up for him, allowing him to project as a defensive eraser.
Yeah, so he's most likely going to be a safety.
Yes.
So yeah, I agree with that. Tampa, I have them taking Bradley Chubb. They need defensive line. I mean, honestly, there isn't a team in the NFL that couldn't use Bradley Chubb. Every team could use Bradley Chubb. So when we say the team needs defensive line, they need it more than most. So Tampa Bay, they need Bradley Chubb. All right, moving on to the next pick, Chicago. What do you got Chicago doing?
I've got them replacing Brian Urlacher, finally.
Okay.
I've got them taking the Butkus Award winner, Roquan Smith from Georgia. I think this is going to be the steal of the draft.
Yeah.
Because he is one hell of a player, and nobody's talking about him.
Nobody's
talking about him.
Nobody's talking about the other great linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds from Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and the only reason I don't have Edmonds or Edwards or whatever his name, Edmonds, in this top 10 is because of the quarterback-heavy team that people need. Other than that, he is absolutely a top 10 player. But Roquan Smith, he is the reason Georgia got how far they did last year. Now, they had a true freshman at quarterback who played well, but their defense stood on their heads game in and game out with the exception of the Auburn game.
Yeah, and the first half of that Oklahoma game.
And the first half. They even shut down Alabama for the lack with
like 3 quarters, basically.
It took Tua Tagovailoa. I got his name right. I just had a tongue twister. It took him coming in to really take the top off that defense.
All right, quickly. I have Chicago actually trading out of that pick because Bradley Chubb gets taken and Quentin Nelson gets taken and Minkah Fitzpatrick gets taken. I have them trading out, and it's going to be one of these 3 teams trading into this spot. It's going to be either Arizona, Miami, or Denver trading back in to get Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
I have Baker Mayfield going at number 8 to one of those 3 teams. Not sure who it is, but it's going to be one of those teams that are going to be trading up.
So you have 4 quarterbacks going in the top 10.
I have 4 quarterbacks going in the top 8.
Okay, I got 2 in the top 10. I do think that the trades will happen. I think total of 3 go in the top 10. I think 4 go in the top 12.
Okay. All right, moving on. San Francisco at number 9. I have them taking Roquan Smith. I don't want to take any more time on that. Who do you got? I mean, you said everything.
I don't want to take any more time either because I've got Bradley Chubb.
Okay, very good.
It's definitely a need for them, and it's one of the biggest needs. They haven't really had somebody since Aldon Smith.
Yeah, the only problem is whoever goes to San Fran, try not to like murder people or rape people or go drunk driving. Just like stay out of trouble.
Yeah, it's like a curse. It's like the Browns with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Is the 49ers with linebackers and defensive linemen.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on. Number 10, final pick here that we're gonna go over. Oakland Raiders. Who are they taking?
I've got Vita Vea from Washington, defensive tackle. It's definitely a need for them.
He's a good run stuffer.
Yeah, and that's what the Oakland was terrible on defense last year. You got to start from the inside out, and you got to start with a big defensive lineman. Wow, I cannot talk tonight.
Yeah, no, I have Derwin James going to Oakland. He's the
Great player for Florida
he's
State.
defensive back out of Florida State. He might not be better than Fitzpatrick, but he's close. But he might be a better athlete, honestly. But
Smart wise, I'm not sure, but they're neck and neck.
But he's going to be he's a cornerback that I think is also going to transition to safety, and that's a need for Oakland. They need secondary. So we got a couple more questions here. I'm just gonna roll right into them. The Super Bowl champs, they have the 32nd pick, and that's it for the first 3 rounds. What do they do?
Very quickly, and I know we got to end this segment in a minute. Take the best player available. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You just take the best talent available, and then you start working towards the 4th round and see who's available. Then you have to take best player available.
I think they're going to take guard. This team doesn't have many holes, at all. And
I know.
I would say guard might be their weakest spot. So yeah, I think they're going to go guard, and I think that's really what's going to help them build. All right, next question, number 8. Who will be the first wide receiver taken, and who will take him?
I've got Calvin Ridley, and I've got him coming off the board at 14 to the Green Bay Packers. I think it'll be a perfect fit with Aaron Rodgers. They just lose Jordy Nelson, and who else? Bring in the second leader ever in Alabama history in receptions and touchdowns in Calvin Ridley. They say that he's not the fastest guy. He's not the, he doesn't have the best hands. He doesn't have, he's not the tallest guy. He's not the biggest guy. But everything put together, he's the best wide receiver in this class. It's because of his smarts and his route running. He's very fluid in his motion, and he can make cuts like most receivers can't make those kind of cuts where you stop on a dime and the defensive back kind of just tumbles over because he thinks you're going to still run, and you literally can cut on a dime. Not many wide receivers can cut like that in the NFL, and he's going to be one of them.
I agree with you on the pick on Calvin Ridley. He's going to be the first wide receiver, but I don't think it's going to happen until much later. I have him going 21 at Cincinnati.
God bless him.
Yeah, well, here's my rationale here. Cincinnati needs a receiver. They need weapons for Andy Dalton. When Andy Dalton had his career year, he had A.J. Green, a healthy Tyler Eifert, Mohamed Sanu, and Marvin Jones. No Marvin Jones, no Mohamed Sanu. Eifert is hurt all the time, and A.J. Green's double-teamed. Dalton's trash. They need another weapon. They need another wide receiver. So that's why I don't think anybody's going to take him. I think people are wary of wide receivers in this draft class. So I think he's going to slip a little bit. All right, going on to the next question here. Who's going to have the worst draft?
The worst draft, the Philadelphia Eagles, solely on the fact that they will not get as many players as other teams.
Yep.
And the more players you get, the more of a chance you will have a successful draft class. With only being able to get 3 or 4 players in this year's draft, I will say that unless they find some crazy steal at pick number 32 and a crazy steal in the 4th round that become all pros in the next 2 or 3 years, the Philadelphia Eagles will have the worst draft class. But that's not a slight against them. They just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, I am going to have to go with Houston. Same kind of rationale. They don't have a single pick to the 3rd round. At least Philly has a 1st-round pick. So
very true.
So I'm gonna say Houston's gonna have the worst draft, and I don't think they're gonna trade in. So yeah. Final question: who is your sneaky sleeper? Gonna be potential starter, potential playmaker? We'll say late 1st round or later. Who's your player?
I'm taking D tackle Bilal Nichols from Delaware. He's
Okay.
6'4",
That's a sleeper.
305. He appeared in 44 games with 21 starts in his 4 years with the Fighting Blue Hens. And what kind of name is that, by the way? And posted,
Joe Flacco.
pretty good numbers across the boards with 104 career tackles, 16.5 for a loss with 10.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions. He also had 10 pass breakups by batting down passes. He seems like a guy who's going to come in. Nobody's talking about him, but
a kid from Delaware. Not many people are going to be talking about that.
He's projected as a 5th-round pick. Guy with those kind of stats does not sound like a 5th-round pick to me, and I think he's gonna be the steal.
All right, I have Josh. It's either Sweet or Sweat. I'm sorry, Florida State fans. I don't know, but I'm going to say Josh Sweat. Florida State
Is it Sweat?
Yeah.
I would say Sweat too. So.
Yeah. Defensive end out of Florida State. And look, this guy, he has a better first step than Bradley Chubb. I promise you that. His only problem is he kind of has a little problem, a medical problem. I think it's with his knee, a little bit injury prone. But other than that, this guy has a potential to be Bradley Chubb or better. And they're talking about him going late 1st round. And I've seen some places early second round. So if whoever gets him, it's going to be an absolute freaking steal. So that's it for the NFL draft. It is tomorrow, Thursday night. Better tune in. Hopefully your team does well.
J-E-T-S, Jets.
All right. Calm down there, over there, all right? Calm down. All right, coming up next, we have the final quarter. You're listening to BTH.
Do you have the overwhelming urge to advertise something where it'll only reach 100 people? Well, don't we have the perfect thing for you? Right here, we will sell you this 30-second spot for whatever commercial you want, as long as you let us put this music with it. This music will be by Audionautics and Jason Shaw. Isn't this music fantastic? We sure think so, and that's why we're going to make you listen to it for a few more seconds. Now, back to the greatest sports podcast ever to be conceived.
And then Marcus Smart became available and really impacted this game. Celtics win Game 5, 92-87.
And there you have it, folks. The Boston Celtics have taken a 3-2 lead over the Milwaukee Bucks, and this is a surprise, at least in my eyes. The Bucks have the Greek Freak. I'm going to attempt to pronounce his name, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that was pretty good.
Antetokounmpo. Very close. Very close.
Antetokounmpo. Okay.
Yeah, just stay with the Greek Freak.
Pretty close. The Greek Freak. He's going to be an MVP in this league. He's going to be the best player in the league soon enough. He's phenomenal, and somehow Boston's doing it without Gordon Hayward and without Kyrie Irving. I don't know how, but anyway, I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
We just had a great 2 segments. One on hockey, the Kings, the LA Kings, they suck now, and there's nothing else to it.
And you owe me crab rangoons.
I do, and the NFL draft is tomorrow night. It's going to be great. Tune in. Make sure it's on ESPN at 8 p.m. This is going to be a draft for the ages, a very quarterback-heavy draft.
Yes.
But moving on, we're going to bring back the final quarter for today's show. And because we are tight on time, we're going to go right into it right now. Question number 1. Are you ready? Do you have the timer ready?
I am ready. It is starting right now.
Okay. After going down 3-2, do the Milwaukee Bucks have what it takes to come back over the Boston Celtics?
Absolutely not. Look, they will win Game 6 because they are good at home. They're a very good home team. They're a long team. And Boston, they're all young right now except for Al Horford. But they're a really young team. They don't really know how to play on the road. But Boston, they're going to come back home for Game 7. They have a far superior, better coach than the Milwaukee Bucks. Brad Stevens, he, in my opinion, is the second best coach in the league right now behind Greg Popovich. They have a huge advantage there. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they look like stars in the making. Question number 2. Both San Jose and Vegas dominated their first round matchups. Who do you like to move on to the Western Conference Finals?
I'm going to take the San Jose Sharks here.
You're just bitter.
I predicted both teams to lose, so I am definitely bitter. I don't like Martin Jones. And the reason you'd say, well, Fleury's the better goalie, why aren't you taking Fleury? Quick reason, because the Sharks have experience, but they're not like the Kings. They're not slow, they are quick, but they're also big and physical, and they just swept the Anaheim Ducks, who are a great team, without their best player, Joe Thornton. Joe Thornton's coming back.
Yeah.
This is going to be a close series, though. I'm not predicting a sweep. It's going 7. I'll take the Sharks in 7.
All right. Yeah, no, I agree, but I'm going to take San Jose in 6. All right, moving on.
All right, question number 3. Can the New Orleans Pelicans really cause Golden State problems, or is this series over before it started?
So I don't think Steph Curry is going to play for the first game, and I think New Orleans has what it takes to win that game. The thing is, Drew Holiday has to be 40. He doesn't have to score 41 points, but he's got to score like 24 and have like 9 assists. And Rondo has to have like 15 assists and like 10 points. And obviously Anthony Davis has to play amazing.
He's got to put up 45.
And Nikola Mirotic has to play well. And I think those pieces are really good for this team. And I think they can give Golden State some fits. But when Steph Curry comes back, we're going to finally realize, wow, we were really dumb for picking anybody else.
Yeah, the Warriors are. I was just watching the game last night between the Warriors and the Spurs.
Yeah, and
as the Warriors knocked them out, and they were talking about how the Warriors are have 7 categories that they're number 1 in the league, not just number 1 in the Western Conference. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, the
only
one that they weren't was defense, but you can see their defense from the regular season to the playoffs. Their
totally
playoff
different.
defense is so much better.
Without question.
They actually play defense in the playoffs.
They're not trying in the regular season.
Exactly.
They know where they're going to be.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on. Next question. Nashville and Winnipeg, they had the first and the second best regular seasons. Does Nashville dropping 2 games to Colorado make you a little nervous about them moving on, or are they completely fine?
No, they're completely fine. The Avalanche are a good team. Nathan McKinnon's going to be either the MVP or the MVP runner-up to Taylor Hall. He's a phenomenal player, absolute stud. The Avalanche are not a joke of a team either. I know they were 0-10 in the last 10 games against the Preds, but that's an overstated thing because the Preds were a really good team last year, and the Avalanche weren't. They were dead last in the league last year, and they're in the same division, so they play 4 or 5 times a year.
But I mean, this year they were, I believe, 3-0 against, or Nashville was 3-0 against them going into the playoffs.
And the Avalanche were also missing McKinnon for about a third of the season, so I wonder how many games of that took place in that time frame.
So I just want to say that's a really good point, because people will just look at the scores, but you know that the Colorado's best player was not on the ice for one of those games.
I'm not saying he wasn't, but I'm saying there's a high chance. They play about 4 or 5 times a season, and I know for a fact McKinnon was hurt for about I want to say at least 10 games this season. Could be up to 20. I know he had a pretty serious injury, and they were saying how the Colorado Avalanche weren't going to make the playoffs because of it, and then McKinnon comes out of nowhere, comes back, goes on some tear, brings the Colorado Avalanche to the playoffs, and they're a pretty good team. This is really quick though. This is why your rant the other day was great, because this should be a Western Conference Final matchup, but it's a second round matchup. Two best records in the league meeting in the second round doesn't make sense to me. But I'm going to take Nashville in 6.
Okay, yeah, I disagree. I think Winnipeg's gonna wrap this up. I think it's going to be in 6. I think if it goes to Game 7, Nashville's going to win that. But I have Winnipeg in my Stanley Cup Finals as my sleeper team, although it's not really much of a sleeper. The second best team in the finals, not that far-fetched.
But then nobody thinks that the Jets is going that far.
Exactly.
I'm a huge hockey guy, and it just doesn't ring a bell to me.
But they destroyed Minnesota.
Oh, I knew it was gonna. I said it.
Yeah.
I said the series was over before it started because they were missing Ryan Suter. And that's what happened.
Yeah, and I just want to. You just touched on it. The first and second best teams in the NHL are playing each other. If Boston wins tonight, it's going to be the same exact thing in the Eastern Conference. And even if Toronto wins, the Boston or Tampa, Boston, Toronto were the top 3 teams in the East, and it's kind of Boston and Toronto get screwed because they have to play each other, and then the winner has to play Tampa. It's
stupid.
screwy.
The NHL needs to go back to their old format. 100% agree. Next question: does your opinion change on the Cavaliers after getting blown out in Game 1 and then having close calls in the other 3 games?
I think if they have to play the Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals, they're going to have a little bit of trouble. They're going to have a little bit of trouble with everybody they play, simply because they're a really young team, and LeBron has to literally carry them every night. And it's going to take somebody like J.R. Smith going off one night for them to win a game, and then Kevin Love has to go off for one night to win a game, and then Jordan Clarkson's gonna have to go off one night. They have to get. They're gonna get that production from one player one game, another player another game. But this is kind of how the Cavs work. They kind of grind you down. And I wouldn't be surprised if they win this series in 6, but if they have to play Philly in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that could be major problems for them.
Yeah, agreed. Philly looks scary.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary to think about, but they look scary.
It's funny because 2 years ago they only had 10 wins. This year they had 52.
Yep, it's a crazy how the world works.
Trust the process,
but you have to go through those years. You have to. Every team does it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I go back to it, but the Patriots will do it as soon as Belichick and Brady are gone.
Yeah.
And it just happens.
Same thing with the Spurs.
Team.
Spurs are good.
Spurs are starting to go through it right now. So being in the 7th this year in the West.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Penguins versus Capitals. Do the Caps finally get over the hump?
I love this meme. The Pens versus the cap of the pen. Kens and Pat.
Yeah.
Pens and caps, not you know what I meant. But anyway, I want to say yes. I do. I want to see Ovechkin lift Lord Stanley, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, no, it's not happening, man. I'm sorry. We saw how bad they looked. I mean, they won their first. Washington won, but they're against Columbus. But they looked terrible in the first 2 games. I thought they should have lost.
Game 5.
Yes, Game 5.
Yeah,
that was
they were
it.
completely outplayed, and they won in overtime. I
So
believe it was.
yeah, so I don't know. I think, and I know Pittsburgh, they don't have great goaltending, but like they score like 8 goals a game, so who cares?
But I will say this.
Although they were playing the Flyers, and the Flyers shouldn't have even been in the playoffs because that NHL playoffs
and their
was all screwy.
their goaltending is the worst in the league. But Evgeny Malkin will not play in Game 1.
Really?
That is
Why is
huge.
that?
He had an upper body injury in Game 5.
Okay.
He did not play in Game 6.
Okay.
And he will not play in Game 1 of the.
I don't think it's gonna matter.
So if he is out long term.
Yeah, if he's out long term, this
But
definitely
Game
hurts.
1, this
it
should
hurts
not
the Penguins
matter.
for the series and going forward. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a big deal. All right. Moving on.
All right, moving on. Is Philly the team to beat in the Eastern Conference after an impressive 5-game series against the Miami Gold?
Yeah, I see what you did there. Yeah, go check out my video. I made a video roasting the Miami Heat and praising Philly. But enough about that. Are they the team to beat in the East? They are definitely one of the teams to beat. I would say going into it, they were maybe the 3rd favorites, and I would put them a little bit ahead of Toronto now because Toronto, I would have bought them if they were able to wrap up Washington in 5 games, but they can't. They looked terrible against Washington in the 2 games in Washington, so I don't trust them at all. And this is the 8th seed they're playing, so. But I think Cleveland is still a little bit above Philly because Philly doesn't have that playoff experience besides JJ Redick. All right, moving on. Next question. Did we see Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker play in their last games? And regardless, are they Hall of Famers?
I don't believe it was their last games. I think that they kind of went out in a terrible way. Coach Pop wasn't there. They had a terrible tragedy with Coach Pop's wife. God bless the Popovich family.
Yes,
you never want to hear about that.
Yes.
I do think that they both come back for one more season. That'll be it. But the Hall of Famers, when their careers are over, they are Hall of Famers. They're the 2 most winningest players in NBA history.
Yep.
Play on the same team together.
In the playoffs, yep.
I think it's 132 wins now.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's an incredible feat, and they are definitely Hall of Famers to me.
Yeah, no, I think Ginobili will come back. I'm not sure about Tony Parker. But I also think they're both Hall of Famers. They're both key assets to one of the best dynasties we've ever seen in basketball. So.
Yep. I totally agree. Totally agree with that. The Red Sox, they've opened up the season 17-5. Although, little stat for you, they're 6-4 with Chris Sale and David Price on the mound. Are they the best team in baseball?
Well, here's another stat for you. They've lost their last 3. So they lost 2 in a row. They lost 3 or 4, I'm pretty sure. So they're not looking.
So they were 16 and what? 2?
They were 16-2, and now they're 17-5. And it's like, hey, we throw Chris Sale out on the mound. He gives up 3 runs, and we get no hit. And so like there's things like that going on.
Pretty crazy to think about. The Red Sox get off to the best start in franchise history, and then they get no hit.
Yeah, that's one of the things that was really crazy about that. Do I think they're the best team right now? I would have to say yes, because the way they put the beat down on Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, I thought that was going to be a series that they were going to struggle, and they swept them. And the way they played against the Yankees, they won 2 out of 3. They 2 games they won, they destroyed them. And although the 1 game they lost, they got destroyed as well. Although they kind of came back, but it was a lot closer. The final score was closer than the actual game. But I mean, I was at first thinking, okay, they lost 1 game out of the first 8 or 9, but that was all against Tampa and Miami, so I didn't really think much of it. But now, I do think they're the best team right now. I don't know about going forward, though.
I agree. I do think that they are the best team in baseball as we speak, but hey, my New York Yankees have been looking pretty good the last 3 games.
They have.
So I think it's
Miguel
the warm
Andujar,
weather.
and finally is
Gleyber
heating
Torres.
up. Torres is back.
Torres had an error last night. He missed the catch at first base. You know what? The things are going to happen.
Yeah.
He's going to be an amazing player for the Yankees.
I think so, too.
But yes, the Red Sox are the best team in baseball as we speak.
All right, final question. Brandon Belt broke a record 21 pitch at bat. Is this a big deal? Is this good or a bad thing for baseball?
It's not a big deal at all to me. Is it good or bad? I mean, I don't know. Is it good or bad for Brandon Belt? It means he's either swinging too early or swinging too late if you're fouling off that many pitches. So There's the buzzer. But going back to what I was saying, you're either swinging too early or too late if you're fouling off that many pitches. So it really sounds like Brendan Belt needs to get his timing down.
Hey, I think this is a great thing.
No pun intended.
He broke a record. I think this is great. This is what baseball is all about. Working the pitcher. This happened, I believe, it was either the first or the second inning, and I think
it was the second batter.
Yeah, so second batter, and after the second batter, he's already got more than 21 pitches. I believe the starter for that game only pitched like 2 2/3 innings, or 3 1/3 innings, something like that, because the Giants, they just kept taking pitches and swinging and fouling them off. I think this is great. It's a record. What are you going to do? I mean, and I don't think it's a bad thing for baseball at all. This is what baseball is.
I don't think it's bad for baseball. I just think it's bad for Brendan Belt. It sounds like he's got to get his timing right.
Well, yeah, no, he ended up flying out, so how good is he really? So. But yeah, no, that was our show. We roasted the Kings.
What's going on with Jacksonville, though?
Yeah, I'll get to that. We roasted the Kings. We gave you the NFL draft preview and the final quarter. But here's my final thought. So, I don't know if any of you guys heard, but this past week it was announced that the Jacksonville Jaguars EverBank Stadium will open up a doggy daycare. So you can go to a Jacksonville Jaguars game with your dog, tailgate in the parking lot, whatever, do whatever you want to do, and then you go into the game, drop your dog off at doggy daycare, go get drunk as hell at the game, and then pick your dog up after the game is over and then drive home drunk as hell.
Not my dog.
Yeah. So I'm a dog lover.
Me too.
But I would never put my dog through this kind of torture. There's no way like my dog would want to be at a football game with strangers he doesn't know and dogs he probably won't like.
Yeah.
So I think this is completely stupid. Jacksonville, I love you, but what the hell are you doing? This is just the latest gimmick. I appreciate the pools. I like the cabanas. I like what you guys are doing. I like the big screen. But this
is a funny stat. A little story about this. When you texted me this earlier, like, all right, I'm actually going to use this as my final thought of the day, and I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. I'm like, they got to have like mist showers or whatever to keep the dogs like cold. You know what I mean? It's hot during the summer, and I'm thinking it's like a doggy camp.
No, this
like
is during
they're
the
gonna
games.
be running around on the football field, and you're like, nah, dude, it's during the game.
This is during the games, yeah.
And like, nah, I couldn't do it. My dog, my dog, he'll bite somebody.
Yeah,
so.
No, your dog will kill all the people there and all the other dogs there.
Hey, we know he's not coming. Nobody's coming to my house, so
nah. They'll end up dead.
Yeah, pretty much. So I got the pool guy knocking on my front door like twice a week asking me if my dog's out back because he don't want to go back there if he is. But anyway, this was a great show. It was great being back in Florida. I got out of the miserable weather in New Jersey. We did take the week off last week. We're going to do that every now and again. We're going to have a filler episode for the next time we do that. But coming up next week, what else is new? We're going to have a loaded show.
Yeah, well, we have NBA playoffs. We have NHL playoffs. There's going to be more baseball. There's tons of freaking stories. We might even give you a little bit of an NFL draft review.
Yeah, something might crazy happen. All of that next week on BTS.